Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today's episode is a solo episode. It's just you and me here, and we're going to be talking about what to do when your group program isn't filling. Group programs are amazing. I love them. I'm so blessed to have one in my own business, which is the Sales Maven Society. I've had it since 2017. And the thing about group programs, we always hear about this in our businesses. We hear launch a group coaching program, launch some kind of a group program, because it's a way to maximize the impact that you can make in the world with a group of your ideal clients. So it seriously can be some of the most rewarding work that you do. It maximizes your time. You get a great return on investment. It keeps the lights on, keeps the cash flow coming in the door. There's all these great reasons to launch group programs. And I find that it's often a piece of advice that business coaches love to give their clients. You need some kind of a group program. And I usually show up in this equation when they're struggling to sell their group program. They come to me and they want some support around it. Of what do they need to do to sell the group program? What should be on the sales page? What should be in the email promotion? Which I love to serve clients around this stuff. However, there are some questions that I think are important, and there's some things that you should be thinking about before you launch a group program so that you're setting yourself up for success. Because when you launch a group program and it doesn't fill in the way that you want it to, oftentimes I find that many of us then start to think that we have failed. We think nobody wants to buy our stuff. Why am I even doing this? Maybe I should be doing something else, right? It really gets into your head. So I get kind of frustrated, frankly, with business coaches that love to give this advice about filling a group coaching program, because I think they forget some of the fundamentals first and foremost. So I want to talk through those. And I'm bringing this up because, not surprisingly, this is something that has come up a lot, actually, in my business. And it's come up quite a few times just recently in the last couple of months of having clients show up and be like, I want a group program, what do I need to do, Nikki, to fill it? And the first question that I always ask is, do you have an audience to fill your group coaching program? Or your group program doesn't have to be coaching, but do you have an audience? And what I mean by that is, do you have an active email list that you can sell to? And if the answer is no, you might not be ready for a group program yet. Because if you think that you're going to post on social media a few posts about a group program and people are just going to flock and sign up, that rarely is the case. And I have now worked with thousands of clients, and I have worked one-on-one with hundreds of women business owners. And so I see this over and over and over again. If you don't have an audience, you're not ready for a group program yet. Doesn't mean you won't have one at some point. Doesn't mean that we can't work towards that. Doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can do. But if you don't have an audience, launching a group program isn't always in your best interest. I recently worked with a client who got this advice from her business coach, and the business coach is amazing and best intentions always for their client by giving this piece of advice. But when they show up for me to kind of step in from the sales side of it, and I ask, do you have an audience? And the person says, well, there's been like a handful of people over the years that have mentioned that they would like to have this from me. And I was like, okay, but have you ever talked pricing with them? well, no, because that's what they want me to help them with, is figure out pricing. Well, if you haven't talked to people, like if people have expressed interest, but they have no idea what the price point is, they're not potential buyers yet. They're like maybe kind of lukewarm, not even warm buyers yet. So we have to make sure that the audience is there and that they are the kind of audience that would invest the kind of money that you want to charge for your group program. Otherwise, it's very hard to fill a group coaching program. And as a matter of fact, the advice that I give when somebody shows up and wants to launch a group program and I ask them, do you have an audience? And they go, what now? What do you mean audience? Do you have an email list? No, but I have a few, maybe they say like, well, maybe I have like 40 people on my email list. Okay, but how many of those are active potential buyers? Like go look at a list of 40. It doesn't take that long to look at. And how many of those are like people who just like you, but would never pay you money? They don't count. They might be sitting on your email list, but they don't actually count as potential buyers. So now we whittle it down and we're like, well, we maybe have 20 people on this email list. Well, there's nothing wrong with an email list of 20 active buyers. But when you start looking at the percentages of what people are going to buy when you send out a promotion, you're probably not even going to get one buyer from that email list of 20, maybe one. It's unlikely that you're going to fill a program with a small, tiny email list that, by the way, when's the last time you emailed them? Oh, I've never emailed them. Then you don't have an email list. Like you don't have an audience yet. So usually what I then advise clients is let's look at the offer. Let's make it a solo offer. And let's start selling it as a one-off. Let's do it a few times, get the reps under your belt as far as what you're delivering and the value, get some great testimonials, continue to work on building your list, which I can help you with, of figuring out ways to actively grow your list, but it takes time to do that. And so let's make some money. Let's bring some cash flow into the business by doing it as a one-off, like a one-to-one offer. And sometimes people say, yes, great. They love that. They go and they do it. They get success. And then at some point they're ready to fill a group coaching program. Or they don't like my advice, then they stop working with me. And then their group program never goes anywhere. They end up never having a group program. I didn't mean like they stopped working with me, therefore they couldn't have a group program. I just mean not believing this advice of like, you have to have an audience. I'm not saying this for my benefit. I'm saying it for the client's benefit. So be serious about this question for yourself. Do you have an audience? I know I have shared on the podcast before of wanting to launch my own group coaching program back in the beginning of 2023. Trying to think if it was 2023 or 2022. And I do have an audience. I have an audience of active buyers because I sell to my list actively. And I made a list of, I wanted to put 10 people into a group coaching program. And so I made a list of what I thought were 40 ideal clients for this group coaching program. And I was really excited about it. I'd spent a lot of time on it and getting it ready and figuring out the content and creating a new workbook. And oh my gosh, I spent so much time on this. And I put out the offer to the 40 people and crickets. And then, because I don't just send one email about it, I send multiple emails about it. I ended up getting one buyer and another one who was going to buy. And I was like, okay. The group coaching thing, obviously not the right time. So then I turned it into a solo offer, put it out to my list, got 4 buyers immediately. They wanted the solo offer. It was great. It was super fun. And I've repurposed the content a bunch of times since then and used it in a lot of different ways. So that's the thing to like ask yourself first and foremost is, do I have an audience? And then there's some other things is if the answer is yes, but people aren't signing up yet, there's some things that you want to look at. One is, did you do an email sequence, like a full-on sequence to your list, creating some urgency for them to sign up? Because a lot of times the answer is, well, I sent an email. Well, one email a sequence does not make. And because we track here at Sales Maven, we track where our buyers come from. So we know how many buyers we get on each email in a sequence when I have a promo sequence that goes out. And when we track those, a lot of times the majority of my buyers come on email 3 and 4, and sometimes 5. That usually makes up about 70% of my buyers. So if that's the case, what does that mean? That means I have to send email 1 and 2 in order to send email 3, 4, and 5. And you probably need to do that in your business too. So what's your sequence look like? And is it compelling? Now, if you're sending out your promo sequence and you're not getting engagement, the other thing is maybe you do need to send out some personal invites. Hand select people from your list that you think are ideal candidates for the program and send a personal invite, not through your email system, but actually from you, and see if that sparks some interest. Because a lot of times that little extra touch from you can make a big difference in somebody going like, oh, maybe I should look at this. Are you ready to uplevel your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now. And then the other thing is, what's stopping people from buying? It's important to ask this question. One of the things I often find when I ask clients, when they're telling me their group program isn't filling the way that they want, and I ask them, well, what's stopping people from signing up? Have you asked anybody? They always have the answer. They think what the answer is as to why people aren't signing up. But they never actually ask anybody why they're not signing up. And so they're making assumptions. And assumptions are so dangerous in your business. Making assumptions about people's behaviors isn't in your best interest. It's not serving your business. So ask people, reach out to a few people and ask them what is stopping them, or what would it take for this to be an easy yes offer for them. Ask these questions. Don't make assumptions about it. I hear this a lot. And I push back actually with clients on this. When they give me what I'm assuming is an assumption, I check to see, is this an assumption or is this actually based on anything? And then when I ask them to actually go and reach out to these people that they've made these assumptions about, oftentimes what the person comes back with is something totally different. But it's such great information because now we can make some decisions about making some adjustments to the program. Sometimes it's just making one little tweak here or there that would make it an easier yes for people. And if you don't know what's stopping somebody from buying, it's like if you don't understand what the objection is, how can you ever overcome it? So we need to know what the objection is. What's that thing getting in their way? It's not always price. Sometimes, like if it's not price, what it usually is time. People don't feel like they have the time to commit. I had this conversation with a client recently where this was kind of coming up, that it felt like a big commitment to sign up for this group program. So people were pushing back. And so I advised her to actually make it a shorter amount of time. Like, could she deliver and make the impact that she wanted to make in a shorter amount of time? And would that make it more feasible for somebody? So we're testing that right now to see what would happen if we change something from being a longer period of time to a little bit of a shorter period of time. And they still got what it was that she was promising. It just wasn't as big of a commitment on their part. Would that be more interesting? Right. So be willing to check this stuff out. Or is it like, could you throw something in? Could you throw in an extra bonus or something that would make it a little bit more feasible? I had this happen recently where when somebody reaches out to me and they say to me, "Oh, Nikki, I saw this offer that you made. I'm super interested in it. But I have this hesitation." And I'll usually check and see, like, well, is there anything that I can do that would make this an easy yes for you? And oftentimes they'll give me some kind of a like, well, if it was this, or if it had this extra thing, or if it blah, blah, blah. So I always test the waters. If I can do it, I'll say, okay, if I was able to do that for you, would you then want to sign up? And about, I'm going to say 25% of the time, the person says yes and signs up. The other 75% of the time, they're just not ready. They have some kind of an excuse, or they're not willing to share with me what it is that the thing that's holding them back is. And in those cases, there's really nothing that I can do. If people aren't going to share or be upfront about it, I can't overcome the objection. So I'm okay with those. Those are bless and release. And clients that do that, or actually not even clients, but prospects that do that consistently with me, I've found in the last couple of years, there's certain people that every single time I send out an offer, they send me a message as to why they can't buy it. And then I offer a way to make it feasible for them. And then they say no. And after they do that a couple times, I just remove them from my list, because at this point it feels like, I don't think you really want to buy, and I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with you doing this like constant thing, like getting in my head as to why you can't buy my offers. Like, it doesn't really seem like there's anything I can do that would make it interesting for you to buy it. So let's just bless and release, part ways gracefully. Right? Okay. So can you do something else? Sometimes the other option is, could you offer some type of a different kind of payment plan for them? I find a lot of times with group coaching programs or group programs, a lot of times we don't think, and sometimes I forget to even put some kind of a payment plan in there. And so sometimes with my clients, when I look at what the offer is and I go, well, what if we offered a payment plan? Would that make it more feasible? Would somebody be more interested? And what should that payment plan look like? Now, don't do something that's going to hurt your business or hurt the cash flow of your business. I'm not advising that. But sometimes there's things that you can do that would make it more feasible for them and will still work in your business. And as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you have the ability to make that concession, why not make it? I have a lot of clients that I give this advice to, and then they go back to the person, they make some kind of a concession, and then the person signs up. So check to see, like, first of all, what is the objection? Does it make sense for you to try to overcome it? Can you overcome it? And if you're willing to offer whatever it is that they need, would they then say yes? I had this happen recently with somebody who had expressed some concerns about an offer that I had put out about how it was going to meet their needs. And so I asked them, what would it take for you to feel more comfortable with this? And it turned out there was just one little piece that this person needed. And so I said, well, for you, here's what I'll do. I'm going to add this extra thing in because I know it's going to make a difference for this person. I know it's going to help them in their business. And it also is like, for me, I always think of it as, it's like I'm trying to put out good vibes into the universe, right? Like if I can do something to help somebody, I will. So in this case, I offered this extra thing. She was delighted. and immediately signed up. So check to see. So when you're not filling your group program, check it out. What could you do differently? And again, if it's still not filling, if you're still not getting the signups that you need, can you turn it into some type of a one-off offer, like a one-on-one version, an intensive, a VIP day, or a coaching program that's a one-on-one? Does that make sense in your business? If it's an offer that you know will make a difference for people and you really do want to deliver the content, then change up the offer a little bit. Can you offer it as a half group, half private? Be flexible, be curious, be willing to check these things out and see what happens. Oftentimes, when you're willing to be a little flexible on how something is delivered, you make it easier for people to say yes to you. I know I've said this on the podcast before. I print this on the back of my workbooks. It's my all-time favorite quote, which is, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." Your goal to fill a group program is to be flexible and see what happens. Be curious, be flexible, and see what happens. All right. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. If you need some support on what it is that you're working on right now in your business, any kind of a business challenge you're facing, figuring out what your email promotion should be for your group program, or any of the other things, please reach out. It would be my absolute honor to support you on your journey. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.